I'll get on with the subject. What I'm talking about is when I was 9 years old, I went up to my father, and my father was strange for a Japanese. He was 6'4" and 220 pounds. He was a rather large man. I am the smallest male in my family, out of all the family. And I went up to my dad and I say, "Hey, Dad, I finally figured out what I want to do for the rest of my life and what I wanted to be." I said, "I just want to be rich." He says, "Okay." I said, "So Dad, how do I become rich?" And he says, "What the rich know how to do is they know how to make money." I said, "Good." So I ran off and I got my friend Michael, and he was my first business partner at age 9. We were both in school together. And we set out to make money. And our first business venture, what we did was we went around our neighborhood in Hawaii and we collected, you know what, do you have the brand Crest toothpaste out here, by any chance? It was Crest toothpaste back in the 1950s. And in those days, the toothpaste tube was made out of lead. So Michael and I would run around and we'd collect all these toothpaste tubes, go to our neighbors, knock on their doors and say, "Would you mind saving your empty toothpaste tube?" And they go, "Sure," you know. And one day my mother comes home and there's this box next to her washing machine full of these ugly looking toothpaste tubes. And she's wondering what he and I, my first business venture, were up to. So one day my dad comes driving up with one of his school teacher friends, and they find me out there with this fire going. Michael and I are melting down the lead. And the dad and his friend come over and they look at what are we doing? He says, "What are you boys doing here?" And what we had done, we had taken plaster of Paris and we had put U.S. coins in there. So we're pouring it and popping out, and I had $50, silver quarters, you know, made out of lead. And my father says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Doing what you told us. We're making money." And his friend just started laughing and says, "Leave the boy alone. He might have a talent here, you know." And so I found out at a very early age what the word counterfeiting meant. And so I was very confused. You know, I said, "Dad, I still want to be a rich man. How do I make money?" And my dad looked at me and says, "Number one, there's 2 reasons, don't ask me. Number one is I'm a school teacher. And school teachers don't know how to make money. Number 2, I'm Japanese. Japanese don't know how to make money." He says, "Why don't you ask Michael's father? He knows how to make money. He's Chinese." So Michael and I ran off and went to see his dad. And his dad was Chinese, and he began to teach Michael and I the art of making money. So for those of you who are Chinese in the audience, what I'm about to tell you, you probably already heard from your parents. So as I grew older, it got really difficult in my family. Because my dad, being a school teacher, would say, you know, "Be good, study hard." And I'd say, "Why?" He said, "So you can get good grades." I said, "Why?" "So you can find a good job." I said, "Okay, why?" And he says, "You can find a good company to work for." And then I go across town and talk to Michael's dad, and all he would say to me, he says, "You don't want a good company to work for. You want to study hard to find out how to buy a company and sell it." And it really caused a conflict in me. If you can imagine me being 17 years old, sitting in high school, and it was true, I flunked out twice, not once, but twice, because I was bored. And every time the teacher tried to threaten me, say, "You're not applying yourself, you don't have good grades, blah, blah, blah." I said, "What for?" She says, "So you can get a good job." I said, "Well, I don't need a good job, because I'm going to buy and sell companies." So she said, "Well, a company would never hire somebody like you." I said, "Ooh, that might be a good company to buy." She said, "Well, I would never work for a man like you." And I said, "Don't worry, love, we wouldn't hire you anyway." That's when I was thrown out the second time. So I had a different educational background, and it was tough, like I said, with my 2 dads. Now the reason I bring this up is how many people here realize that America is in fairly big financial trouble right now? How many people realize that? Good.